Confronting marginalization. marginalization. In the previous chapter, we read about two different groups and their experience of inequality of discrimination through powerless. Such group have fought, protested, struggle against people excluded or dominated by others. They have attempted to overcome their situation by adopting the range of strategies in their long history. Religious solace, arm, struggle, self-improvement, and education, economic uplift. There appear to be no one way to do things. In all cases, the choice or struggle has depend on the circumstances that are marginalized find themselves in. In this chapter, we read about some ways in which groups and individual challenge existing inequalities. Adivasi, Dalits, Muslim women, and other marginal groups argue that simply by being citizen of democratic country that possess equal rights that must be respected. Many among them look up the constitution to address their concern. In this chapter, we will see why the constitution of India is something marginalized group invoke the cause of their struggle. As a part of this, we will look at how rights translate into laws to protect you from continued exploitation, and we will also at the government effort formulate policies to promote the assets of the group development. Involving fundamental rights. The Constitution, as you have learnt in the chapter in book, down the principles that make our society and policy democratic. They are defined through the fundamental rights. They are important part of the Constitution. These rights are available to the Indian equally as far as the marginalized is concerned. They have drawn on these rights into two ways. First, by inciting on their fundamental right, they have forced the government to recognize the injustice done them. Second, they have insisted that the government enforce these laws. In some instances, the struggle of the marginalized have influenced the government to frame new law in keeping the spirit of the fundamental right. Article 17 of the Constitution states the untouchability has been abolished. What this means that no one can henceforth prevent the Dalits from educating themselves, entering themselves, using public facilities, etc. It also means it is wrong practice untouchability, and this practice will not be tolerated by the democratic government. In fact, untouchability is a punishable crime now. There are other sections in the Constitution that help to strengthen the argument against untouchability. For example, Article 15 of the Constitution notes that no citizen of India shall be discrimination against on the basis of religion, race, caste, sex, and place of birth. You learnt a lot of these in your class 7 textbook. In this chapter on inequality, this is been used to Dalits to be seek equality where it has been denied. So them. Therefore, Dalit can invoke or draw a fundamental right in situation where they feel that they have been treated badly by some individual or community or even by the government. They have draw the attention of the government of India to the Constitution, demanding that the government abide by it and do justice to them. Likewise, other minority groups have drawn the fundamental rights section on our Constitution. They have particularly drawn upon the right, freedom of religion and cultural and education right in the CBSE. In the case of cultural education right, distinct culture and religion group like the Muslim and Paris have the right to be the guardians of the content of this culture as well as the right to make decision on how best content to be preserved. Thus, by granting different form of culture, different the constitution try to ensure cultural justice to such group. The constitution does this so that the culture of this group is not dominated nor wiped out the culture of the minority community. Law for the marginalized. As you have read, the government make law protect its citizen, yet this is not the only way in which is taken takes action. There are specific law and policies for the marginalized in our country. There are policies or schemes that emerge through other means like setting up a committee or by undertaking a survey, etc. The government then make an effort to promote such policies in order to give opportunity to specific group, promoting social justice. As part of their effort to implement the constitution, both state and central government create specific schemes for implementation in tribal areas or in an area that have a high Dalit population. For example, the government provide for free subsidized hostel for students of Dalit and Adivasi communities so that they can avail education facilities that may not be available in their localities. In addition of providing certain facility, the government also operate through law to ensure that concert steps are taken to end inequality in the justice in the system. Or one such law policy is the reservation policy that today is both significant and highly contentious, and law which reserve seats in education and government employment for Dalits and Adivasi are based on the important argument that is a society like Ukkar where for centuries section of the population have been denied opportunity to learn and to work in the order to develop new skill on vacation or democratic government need to step in the assist their section. How does reservation policy work? Government across India have their own list scheduled caste, scheduled tribes and backward and most backward caste. The central government too has its list student applying to education institution and those applying for post in government are expected to furnish proof in their caste or tribe status in the form of caste and tribe certificates. Many of government education institutions also ask for candidates to mention their caste, tribe status. If a particular Dalit caste or a certain tribe in a government list, then a candidate for that caste or tribe can avail benefit or reservation. For admission to college, especially institution of professional education such as medical college, government define a set of a cut-off mark. This means that a not Dalit and tribal candidate can qualify for admission, but only those who have done responsibly well and secured mark above the cut-off point. Government also offer special scholarship for their student. If your class 9 political science textbook, you will read more reservation and backward classes. Protecting the rights of Dalit and Adivasis. In the addition of policies, our country also has specific law that guard against the discrimination and exploitation of marginalized communities. Let us read following case study adapted from a real life account to understand how Dalits use the protection of the laws provide. The villagers Jhakmalgarh are gearing up for new festival. Once in 5 years, the local deity is honored and praised for 20 neighboring villages come for the 5-day event. The ceremony being with a member of the Dalit community washing the feet of all the priest and then bathing in the water used for the in Jhakmalgarh. The person who performed this task belong Ratnam family. This his father and grandfather and both performed the same task before him through. They were never allowed to enter the temple. This ritual was viewed as a great honor bestowed on them on this special occasion. Now it's a Ratnam was all over 20 years studying engineering in a nearby college refused to perform a ritual. He said that he had no faith in the practice and that his family members were forced to perform the ritual because they were Dalits. Ratnam ritual and urged both the powerful caste in the village. Some families from these Oman communities, the powerful caste were shocked but that such a young boy had the guts to refuse. They believe this is a Ratnam's education which allowed him to imagine the could start comparing himself with them. Those from Ratnam's Oman caste were fearful in enduring the powerful. Many work on their field as daily wage laborers. If the dominant caste decide to not call them, then what would they earn? How would they survive? They also declare that wrath of the social deity would strike them if they refuse to give. The Ratnam argue to given that not a single Dalit had ever entered the temple. How could the deity be angry with them? The powerful caste decided to reteach Ratnam a lesson. His community was ordered to ostracize him and his family, and everyone was told that no one should speak or do any work for them with them. One night come some men enter their part of the village, set a hut on fire. He managed to escape with Mother Ratnam, then went to file a case of a local police station under Scheduled Castes and Scheduled Tribes Prevention of Atrocities Act 1989. Other Dalit families still did not come out in his support as they were scared that a similar fate might await them. They spoke out. The case was picked up by the local media that led to many journalists visiting the village. Ratnam was written about a symbol of a Dalit action by the ritual called off, but his family was forced to move out as they continued to be ostracized by the powerful caste in the village. The Scheduled Caste and the Scheduled Tribes Prevention of Atrocities Act in 1989. Ratnam sought the support of law filling this complaint under the above act. The protest against domination and violence and powerful caste in the village. This act was formed in 1989 is response to demand made by Dalits and others that the government must take seriously the ill treatment and humiliation Dalits and tribal groups face in a everyday sense. While such a treatment had persisted for a long time, it had acquired a violent character in the late 1970s and 1980s. During this period, in parts of southern India, a number of assertive Dalit groups came into being and assert their rights. They refused to reform their so-called caste duties and insisted on being treated unequally like Ratnam. They refused to follow practice located in the humiliation and exploitation of Dalits. This resulted in the more powerful caste unleashing violence against this in order to indicate the government and that untouchability was being practiced and most hideous manner. Dalit group demand new law abolished the various sort the violence against Dalit prescribe stringent punishment for those who indulge in them. Likewise, throughout the 1970s and 1980s, Adivasi people successfully organized themselves and demanded equal right for their land resources to be returned to them. They too had to face the anger powerful social group were subject to deal to violence. This is Why this act contains very long list of crimes, some of which are too horrible even contemplate. The act does not only describe terrible crimes but also let people know what dreadful deed human beings are capable of. The sense laws such as this seek the both punish as well influence the way we think and act. The Act distinguishes several levels of crimes. Firstly, in a list of model violations that are both physical horrific and morally reprehensible and seek to punish those who force a member of a scheduled caste or a scheduled tribe to drink or eat any inedible or noxious substance, forcibly remove clothes from the person of a member of a scheduled caste or a scheduled tribe, or parades him or her naked or with paint face or body commits and similar act which is derogatory to human dignity. Secondly, it lists actions that deposes Dalits Adivasi of their major resource of which force them into performing slave labor. Thus, the act set out to punish anyone who wrongfully occupies, cultivate any to owned by the allotted a member of a scheduled caste or a scheduled tribe or get the land allotted to him transferred. At another level, but at recognize that crimes against Dalits and tribes women are specific kind of therefore seeks penalize anyone who assault or use force on any woman belonging to a scheduled caste or scheduled tribe with intent to dishonor her. The Adivasi Demand and the 1989 Act. The 1989 Act is important for another reason. Adivasi activities refer to defend their right to occupy land that was traditionally there. As you read in a previous chapter, Adivasi was often unwilling to move from their land or forcibly displaced. Activities have asked that those who have forcibly encroached upon tribal land should be punished under this law. They have also pointed to the fact that this act merely confirms that has already been promised to tribal people in the constitution that land belonging to tribal people cannot be sold to or bought by not tribal people. In the case where this happens, the constitution guarantees the right of tribal people repossess their land. CK, Janu and Adivasi activities as also point out the one of the violator our constitutional rights guarantee of tribal people. Our government in the various states of India for it is they who allow non-tribal encroaches in the form of a timber merchant, paper mills, etc. exploit tribal land and to forcibly evict tribal people for their traditional forest in the process of declaring forest reserve or as sanctuaries. She has also noted that in the case where tribal have already been evicted and cannot go back to their land, they must be compensated. That is, government must draw land and policies for them to live and work elsewhere. After all, government spend large sum of money or building industrial or project on land taken by tribals, so why should they be reluctant to spend even very modest amount of rehabilitating the displaced? Conclusion. As we say, see the existence of a right or a law, even a policy on a paper does not mean that it exists reality. People have had constantly work on the make effort translate these into principles, guide action, fellow citizen, or even their leader. Desire quality, dignity, and respect is not existent in different form throughout our history, as you have seen in chapter. Similarly, when in a democratic society, similar process of struggle, writing, negotiation, and organizing need to continue.